So, you want to learn the art of heel-toe downshifting. I mean, I can't really blame you because once you get the hang of it, it becomes one of the most satisfying car techniques you could ever learn. And now that I know how to do it well enough, I really can't imagine what driving would be like without it. So in this video, I'd like to share just some of the ways I was able to learn the art of heel-toe downshifting. From shoe choice to learning your car's gearing and ways to actually practice, I'm going to try to cover quite a lot in this video without getting super duper technical, because if I did, we'd be here all day. Now, I am forewarning you. I am no expert. I don't know everything, and I don't know how to do everything. But I just hope everything that I've learned and everything that I have to share can help guide you down the right path. And above all else, what will teach you driving technique the best is actually driving your car. There's nothing more valuable than actual seat time. Now, before even stepping into the car, I'd like to talk about shoe choice. Now, in general, you want something that's on the slimmer side to get the best feel for the pedals. And, being into shoes and being into fashion, it does kind of suck because, yeah, you could wear driving shoes every time you step into the car. But for me, I'm not really trying to do that. And it did kind of suck realizing the only shoes I can consistently drive well with is the Jordan 1. It has a midsole and outsole on the thinner side, and the overall footprint of the shoe is more slim compared to something like an Air Force 1. And comparing it more to the Air Force 1, you can see just how much sleeker it is, providing for a better feel and a higher level of accuracy for pedal work. But it is unfortunate because driving manual has almost completely ruled out wearing one of my favorite pairs of shoes because of how slim they need to be in order to drive adequately. Like, straight up, you cannot drive manual with boots, or at least I sure can't. Now, this is not a sneaker video and pretty far from it, but being into shoes has really made me realize the importance of having the right pair of shoes for the right occasion. Now, some shoes that I think would be good for driving that aren't absolutely hideous like some actual driving shoes are like I mentioned before, the Jordan 1, the Adidas Samba, and most Converse or Vans should probably do the job just fine. Now, actually getting inside the car, we can start to talk more about what heel-toe even is, and putting it in the simplest terms I can, heel-toe downshifting is simply just rev matching while braking. It's really nothing more complicated than that, and I'm gonna go ahead and assume you already know how to rev match, but actually getting the movements down, it's a few ways you can go about doing it. But the first thing you'll want to get comfortable with is foot placement. So some people will have to do one of these because of their feet being so big, and some people will do this where they put the whole ball of their foot on the brake pedal and then actually use their heel. But for me, what I do is I put just about half of my foot on the brake pedal, and then I kind of roll my angle like that to blip the throttle while downshifting. Now, as far as when you should or could be practicing this, you really can do it at any time, whether you're at a stoplight or you're literally just sitting in your car doing exactly what I'm doing now. You'll want this motion right here to become second nature to you. And honestly, even taking it a step further, you can do the same with your car on to get a feel for how much throttle input gives the engine a certain amount of RPMs. So once you've figured out which shoes are the best for you and where you need to place your feet in order to do this properly, it's time for you to remember this one singular movement you have to get down. I know at first it's gonna feel really clunky and awkward, but as long as you make sure you practice this every single time you go out for a drive, you'll have it seamlessly down pat in no time. But now let's get out on the road so we can actually put this all together. Now, if it's your first time trying this, it's gonna feel awkward. There's no avoiding that. But the more you practice this, the more you practice this, and the more you practice it every single time you get inside your car to go for a drive, the quicker you'll get it. And as far as when you'll get it, for me, I've been driving manual, ever since I got this car for the last 9 months. So I'd say the time it took me to start to learn how to heel-toe more consistently, I'd say it took me around 5 months, but obviously, you're not me and I'm not you, so your mileage may vary. But some things to note when you're going to attempt the art of heel-toe downshifting is to know your clutch bite point and to know your car's gearing. So for me, I know that the gearing in the Miata is on the longer side. So what that means is not only does that shorten, or rather it lengthens, or it raises the top speed, you know, for gas mileage, but what that also does is it changes the amount of revs you have to give the engine in between shifts. So if I had shorter gearing, I wouldn't have to give it that many revs in order to rev match. And I guess more about heel toe. Remember, all it really is just rev matching while braking. That's as simple as I could make it out to be. But when you're actually wanting to put all of what I have told you into practice, you'll want to find a straight road. It doesn't have to be the straightest road, but, you know, the straighter the road, the better. And obviously, you'll want to have, you know, nobody in front of you, nobody behind you, so you're not pissing nobody off. So once you find that fairly straight road, you'll just want to pick a gear. For this, I'll go in fourth. Pick a gear, just make sure nobody's behind you. Start braking, clutch in, rev, downshift, and it's as simple as that. You're not gonna get it perfect every single time, and that's actually one thing I have noticed. Even with the best of the best drivers, even they sometimes mess up, you know, heel toe downshifting. So, but even right now, going downhill, we're in fourth gear, about 40-45 miles an hour. Brake, clutch in, downshift, and it's as simple as that. So once you find that straight road of yours, you'll keep wanting to practice that motion. Just going faster, and then just practicing. Practice. That's the most important thing. And even from third gear. And besides straight roads, what will be your best friend is roundabouts, because that's really where you can pretty much practice yourself for how using heel toe is going to be when taking a corner. So if you have a series of roundabouts near you, try to practice there, because they really will teach you how fast you need to be going, how much, you know, brake pressure you need to give the brakes, how much revs you'll need to give the engine, everything. Roundabouts will be your best friend, no doubt. Now I will say the hardest thing that you'll have to learn and just have to get over is keeping consistent brake pressure. And honestly, that's something that I still kind of struggle with, because a lot of the times you'll, you know, slam on the brakes and you'll be upsetting the weight balance of the car, and that's something you don't want to do. So yeah, practicing consistent brake pressure is going to be the hardest thing to learn. And another thing, this gets into the real, oh my god, it rained again, but this gets into the real like nitty gritty of heel toe downshifting. So you'll notice that it's better to give the engine too many revs, because a clutch is a lot better at bringing down revs than it is at bringing up revs. And honestly, doing heel toe, I've gotten so used to it to where I couldn't really even demonstrate what it's like to not give the engine enough revs. But just know that you'll need to know your car's engine, and obviously, like I said, know your car's gearing, and you'll realize if you gave it too much or not enough revs. And if so, what you want to do is just let the clutch out slowly. So if you gave the engine too many revs, if you let the clutch out slower, it gives the engine time to fall down in engine speed. And if you didn't give the engine enough revs while downshifting, if you let the clutch out slowly, the clutch will bring up the engine speed to where it needs to be. And yet another important thing to note, under hard braking, you're gonna realize that You know, unless you have a set of racing harnesses, you're gonna be pushed forward into the seat. Therefore, your legs are gonna be, you know, pushed forward into the pedals. And, you know, like I said, under hard braking, you're just gonna realize sometimes you'll be giving the brakes a little too much pressure, and just, it's something you want to be mindful of. Just something, one of the many things you want to be mindful of while practicing the art of heel-toe downshifting. Now, for those wondering when can you heel-toe downshift, or when's like the most opportune time to do it, really you can do it anywhere at any point in time when you're slowing down. But there's gonna be moments where, you know, you need to slow down a lot quicker than you realize. And if you take the extra time to heel toe, it's really not worth it, especially in traffic. Like, if somebody, you know, just starts braking suddenly in front of you, you don't want to, you know, do the Takumi Fujiwara heel toe down. Like, it's at that point, it's really not necessary. But, you know, at any other moment, you can heel toe and it'll be just fine. Especially at red lights, stop signs, roundabouts. That's where you'll be able to learn, not only learn, but also practice. So after setting aside some dedicated time to, you know, actually learn how to, you know, heel toe downshift, one of the things that you'll probably sit back and realize is how this is truly an art. The same, you know, the same way I say, you know, the art of heel toe downshifting, you'll realize it is truly an art. And you'll notice that if your inputs are sloppy, you'll definitely realize, like, the car will tell you when you're messing up. So honestly, that should be the biggest indicator of what you need to do and what you don't need to do. Your inputs have to be fairly gentle, and if they're not, obviously you're gonna upset the car, and then you'll be upset, and we definitely don't want that. We definitely don't want you to be upset. Learning the art of heel-toe downshifting is so extremely crucial to spirited driving, and once you learn how to do it, you'll realize how much it truly just streamlines your driving. And whether you're, you know, driving 10/10ths at the track about to set a new lap time, or you're simply just going for a nice calm drive, you'll realize how important it is to learn the art of heel-toe downshifting. And so from all of what I've shown you, I hope you've been able to learn and eventually master the art of heel-toe downshifting. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.